Well, welcome. My name is Vanessa Spiegel, and I am here with you today to talk a little bit about CCE Finland and their Master Trainer program. I am going to specifically talk about 21st century education compared to the 20th century education and some of the advantages and disadvantages to that. I'm going to start with our second question today. How does a 20th century classroom compare and contrast with a 21st century classroom? So let's look at some of those differences. First of all, we have the teacher's role, right? In years past, a teacher was the authority. The main person in the room that knew everything was the instructor, was the talk time was dominant for the teacher. And in comparison now, in 21st century, we have classrooms where teachers are facilitators or they are a guide for the learning process. It gives student talk time a more dominant opportunity, and the interaction between students and teachers is emphasized more. As far as student engagement, 20th century, you had passive learners, quiet compliance, memorization of facts. And in 21st century, we're moving towards active learning, reflection as part of the learning process, collaboration, communication, small group learning, large group learning, curiosity, inquiry based. Behavior and modification. So in the 20th century or in the past, it was all about external control, right? It was the teacher's responsibility to control the behavior. They had reward charts, they had discipline, they had consequences, that kind of thing. In the 21st century, we are wanting the students to have autonomy and agency in the classroom. We want internal motivation, self-regulation, guidance through empathy and reflection. Learning and assessment connected to technology. In the past, it was all test-driven, quizzes, grade-driven, content-driven, with technology not being a prominent part of the process. In the 21st century, we have continuous feedback or continuous assessment, where we're focusing on portfolios, we're focusing on peer and self-assessment, even at the teacher's realm. We have integrated purposefully the technology into the classroom through creation, different platforms, software, collaboration, solving real world problems. The environment in the past was very structured. We had desks. The students were asked to sit quietly and listen. The lessons were driven by the teacher, and there was a strict structure from beginning to end. Now we have a more flexible structure. The students can sit on the rug on the floor. They can sit on the carpet. They can sit on a couch or a pillow. There's sensory chairs now where students can help them self-regulate. And it's a calmer atmosphere. Inclusion, SEN students are in the classroom as opposed to being removed from the classroom, so more mainstreamed but supported. And it's filled with trust. It's designed to be around trust. So in the past, learning in 20th century, learning was controlled and monitored and regulated. And in the 21st century, we have learning is becoming co-created between the teacher and the student. So let's talk a little bit about 21st century skills and the overview. This is question 1. So like I said, we did this a little bit backwards. But what are the key elements of the 21st century? So let me start with the idea of these 7 transversal competencies that Finnish education focuses on. So they are thinking and learning to learn. I like to call it learning how to learn, where we're reflecting, we're creating, we're using critical thinking. The second one is cultural competency, interaction, and self-expression. Here we're working on communication, collaboration, and confidence. Next, we have taking care of ourselves, managing daily life, well-being, everyday life skills. We have multi-literacy, where we're using visible thinking, media awareness, technology. We have ICT competencies, which is collaborating digitally, reflecting digitally, ethically, understanding and using technology properly. Working life competence and entrepreneurship. So this is taking initiative, giving the students agency, self problem solving, like actively being a part of the process and the learning, the community that's within the classroom. Number 7 is participation, involvement, and sustainable future. So this is about citizenship, the contribution to society at large, global responsibility, sustainability. We also have the 21st century skills are the ability for students to need to succeed in today's fast changing, interconnected world, right? It used to be that we knew what was going to happen in the future. The future was rather predictable based on the actions in the past, but our world is changing so quickly through computers, through media, through every avenue of social media and platforms. So it's really hard to predict the future. So students are not needing so much to memorize facts and instill a lot of content into their mind. Instead, we're focusing on skills, right? We want the students to learn how to think, to how to create, how to communicate effectively, how to adapt to the environment and solve problems that they don't even know exist yet. So they have to learn how to do that. So students need to prepare for this uncertain future, which we can't predict anymore. So one of the ways to do that is through the 4 C's, or the core 21st century skills, which are creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. And I talked a little bit about those in the transversal competence of Finnish education. And then there's other competencies as well, such as digital literacy, right? The student technology is moving and changing so fast. Even with AI now, we can't hardly even keep up with all the agents that are out there. So students are having to learn how to think critically about this new AI and how to use it ethically. Adaptability, so being flexible in changing situations, right? Nothing seems to be the same from one day to the next. And then taking initiative and being self-motivated, entrepreneurship, being creative, problem solving in unique and new ways. 21st century skills are not considered extra subjects. They're woven into how we learn and work every day, shaping global citizens who can think, adapt, and collaborate in a complex world. So there you have it. That's kind of an overview of the 21st century skills, and then the comparison of the past with the current. Thanks for watching.